Andy Reid.
All right. The guys that won't practice today, Chris Jones is in the COVID protocol for right now. And then L'Jarius Sneed is on his way back to town here. Other than that, everybody will practice. I look forward to the challenge of playing the Chargers. We know they're a good football team, and we'll start our preparation here. We started yesterday. We'll continue on with it today, and get ourselves ready to hop on the plane tomorrow and go to Los Angeles there. So that time's yours.
Andy, how much do you feel you can say that this is a different team now than it was the first time you played the Chargers?
Yeah, you get this time of the year, and it's bound to be different, right? Ours has been. We've got a few players back from when we played them last time that are starters. Not that made any difference because they're in the same boat we're kind of in. So, but I think both teams are playing well, and that should lead to a heck of a football game.
Andy, the reality of what the COVID situation has been in the NFL has usually mimicked what's going on in the rest of the world, of course. And the reality is the cases are rising here, and you've obviously got a new variant as well. So the message to your guys, I mean, is it just re-emphasizing stuff that you said? Do you increase?
And we try to talk to them at least once a week about it, and it seems like it's every day, but it's probably once or twice a week, and just to remind them, about it, who you hang with, where you go, so on and so forth.
With the league's mandate yesterday to get boosted by December the 27th, just a follow up to Sam's question there. What is your message to your guys who are vaccinated and to get that booster shot?
Yeah, so the players union takes care of them. I've done it, and so I've always let the guys know where I'm at with it, and it's not because I'm old, it's because it seems that with the numbers out there, the booster seems to be helping. So, and then Rick talks to them a bunch. Our docs are pretty skilled at that too.
So just to follow up, what does this necessarily mean for Chris Jones and Josh Gordon's status? Are they out for the game, or?
Yeah, we'll see. We'll just see how the testing. They test here, so we'll just see how that goes.
Just double checking that Josh Gordon won't practice today either.
Yeah, Josh won't practice. Yeah, I should have mentioned
that. L'Jarius Sneed, how's he doing, and do you anticipate him being up on Thursday?
Yeah, I've had a chance to talk to him here, a little bit over the last few days. So, obviously he's hurting from the situation. I mean, very close to his brother. So, but he's, like I said, he's on his way back, and I think it'll be good for him to be around his teammates. They care a lot about him, so I think that'll help him.
And those you guys sort of reiterated after the game on Sunday to give L'Jarius as much time as he needed. I'm guessing this decision to come back was fully made on him and just with the support of you guys.
Yeah. He actually went down there and did some things. These aren't the situations you're not forcing anybody back in this type of situation. They've got to kind of take care of business and what they need to do. There's a lot that goes into it. So, that's where we're at with them.
Because over the 6-game stretch, obviously the most success you all have had has been against the Raiders, scoring 40-plus points in both times. Do you feel the offense in both sides of the ball is where you like for it to be going in the Thursday night game?
Yeah, you'd like both sides playing well. Yeah, for sure. So, but you got to do it every week. That's the way this league is. So you got to be consistent with that performance.
We're talking to Orlando later today. Early in the season when there was maybe some public consternation about him getting, used to the offense, you had a lot of faith in him. What is it that really you feel like has turned around with him? Because now he seems like he's playing, really, really well.
Orlando, right? Yeah. So he is playing. He's playing well. He's more familiar with what we're doing, more familiar with the fundamentals and techniques that Coach Heck is teaching, and he's bought into all that. So, He's got a great attitude. He's very, very smart and loves to play the game. I mean, he loves to play the game. So all that it adds up, to where he's at today.
Andy, in terms of the protocol, I'm just wondering, has the league given parameters as to when you guys would have to know in terms of whether Chris or Josh could travel with you guys?
Yeah,
and
so-
how that sort of works with obviously the game being on Thursdays.
Yeah, so Rick deals with all that, and he has all the specifics. He's on the phone with those people quite a little bit, and I'm saying with the league, and so I'd probably, it'd be better if Ted maybe gets the answer from him from him to give to you. Yeah.
And yeah, as you post game about Mecole and how well he played on Sunday, even though some of the things may have gone his way over the season. Why do you feel like his attitude has still been positive throughout this whole time?
Well, he's still getting touches. He knows he's part of the game plan. Not always that the ball's coming his direction, but he's handled it well. I mean, he's continued to work hard, and I think just mature over time here. I like the direction that he's going in. So he's got the respect of the players, quarterback, and coaches right now.
And yeah, I wonder, just when you review the tape from the first matchup, how much of that is helpful, or how much of that is dependent upon just what happened that day? Obviously, the turnovers and the penalties and like.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can see the guys you're going against; they're going to see us, and so there's that part of it. The schemes aren't going to change dramatically. I mean, that's normally true within the league. They've all the defenses in this league have a number of things that they can do, and they'll dial those things up and throw them at you. And we've got a couple of things we can do offensively, and we'll dial those up. So, it's that's normally how it goes. But you can get something out of the tape as you look at it.
Have you sensed the team's playing Travis a little bit differently this year? He's still having an excellent year, but it's a little bit down by his standard. I know you're not going to want to reveal too much, but just has the team's been just challenging him a little bit differently this year?
Yeah, when we single him up, that's where you normally get when he's the one guy here and three guys on the other side. They have a tendency to get their hands on him and grab him, until they get called 3 times. So that's how it goes.
How has he handled some of that adversity?
He's been good. When he was younger, he'd get very upset at it, and so he's matured there and tries to find a way to get around it. But it's our responsibility to move him around, and you've seen us do that a little bit, and he's very productive when that happens.
Couple more guys. Is it safe to say, Andy, that the message you just gave us has been given to the league about how opposing defenses are trying to counteract Kelsey?
If I want to buy my grandkids presents for Christmas, I can't answer that question.
Andy, I'm sure you've been asked this ad nauseum, but yesterday was the 50th anniversary of you in that passing kick thing.
I hadn't been asked that.
What do you remember about that?
For a 12, 13-year-old kid, I mean, it was pretty exciting. I've been now. I didn't expect it to. I didn't know it was being filmed. Just know that. Like that one was snuck on me a little bit. So, but it was. There weren't a lot of 13-year-olds, 12-year-olds doing that at that time that I knew. So, other than the guys in the competition, but it was fun.
Were you thinking at the time you had a future as an NFL quarterback?
Now, I figure with my size, I'd probably end up on the line. So.
Andy, did you take issue with they had a typo in your name, I think, on the.
They did. They got the balls mixed up. So that's why, I lean towards the English side. That's right.
All right,
Is that the jersey or the shoulder pads?
I do.
Did you see the guy at Super Bowl night?
Yeah.
And
Les
Reid-
Josephson.
And Reid was spelled wrong?
Yeah.
Are you guys back?
Is that who it was, Les Josephson's jersey?
All right, guys, fire away.
Pat, you've been a part of these Thursday night games for a few years now. Do you ever feel like you're as prepared for a Thursday night game as you would if the game were on Sunday?
Yeah, I feel like you get prepared. You definitely have to do a lot more on this Monday and Tuesday. I've had a long day yesterday, and I'll have a long day today as well. But I try to do whatever I can to get everything in that I get on a normal week. Just knowing that it's going to be a long kind of Monday and Tuesday where you can kind of take Wednesday to kind of recover and get your body right for the game.
Has much changed with the Chargers, what you can see defensively since the last time you played?
Yeah, I mean they obviously do some different stuff. They have a good game plan defense, I guess you would say in a sense. Is each team that you could see that they're kind of have a flavor for. They have an understanding of what they're trying to do. And so for us, I'm sure they'll try to do some of the stuff they did the first game they played against us, but they'll have a change up for us that we'll have to adjust to in game.
Patrick, how much do you feel like that game sort of symbolized the early season struggles you guys had with the turnovers and everything, and that it was out of character for what you guys have done?
Yeah, I mean, we had definitely the turnovers hurt us that game. I mean, we had like 28 points with like 4 turnovers. So, I mean, we were moving the ball and getting drives going, but we didn't execute and didn't find ways to finish those drives with points. And for us, it's kind of something we battled through early in the season. And hopefully this game we can cut those out, still drive the football, and find a way to get points at the end of those drives.
Asking Andy about whether or not the offense and the defense have come together. Do you feel like you all, minus the games against the Raiders where you scored 40-some points, that you all are clicking in the manner and the direction that you like to see going in the Thursday game?
Yeah, I mean, I think we could obviously keep playing better and better. You want to keep building as the season goes on. I think the defense is playing really good right now. Offensive, we're still kind of some games great, some games just average. So, I mean, for us, it's going to be us going into play a good defense like we're playing on Thursday, playing our best football because we understand it's going to be a dogfight, and we're going to go out there and play our best football if we want to win.
Patrick, as one of the team's leaders, and obviously we see what COVID is doing right now around the NFL, 30-plus players tested positive yesterday, including Josh Gordon. What is your message as one of the leaders to the guys to not get complacent and to continue to take this seriously?
Yeah, I mean, when you know you're down this stretch run, you have to take it seriously because you want to be available. It's just kind of like any other injury that you would get at this point. I mean, you want to try to do whatever you can to be available for the team. And that if that means having to kind of distance yourself in the locker room or distance yourself when you're back home with your family, you have to try to do that. We understand that it's kind of became part of the world. It's something that you can't really control at all the time. But do the best you can to kind of help yourself and help the guy next to you to be available for your team, so you can go out there and hopefully win football games.
How much does it help that the short week is with a division team as opposed to like a one-off in the NFC or even the AFC?
Yeah, I mean it's kind of tough either way, but at least you have a familiarity with the defense that you're going up against, a team that you've played before, a team that you studied a little bit in the off season, and you have an understanding of the defensive concepts that they're going to run. But I mean, this is a good defense with a good scheme, so we're going to have to play our best football, like I said, if we want to win.
Patrick, how much do you feel like momentum carries over from one game to the next?
Yeah, it can. I mean, if you utilize it the right way, you also don't want to come complacent with you play good and kind of have that relaxed feeling. You want to make sure that you still go to work during the week, try to make yourself better. And I think we have the guys that can do that and understand that, so that we can go out there and hopefully play another good football game.
Obviously, the Raiders defended you guys a little bit differently than a lot of teams have. And I know last time you said the Raiders, it wasn't quite as different as maybe a lot of us thought it was. But do you still have elements of the way you played against that defense that does carry over against some of the deep shell stuff that you've seen most of the year?
Yeah, I mean, they were kind of the original. If you look at back to when Gus Bradley was at the Chargers, they were the original defense that kind of sat back and try to make us drive the entire field. And so, I mean, I think you've seen me have success against that defense this year out of all years because I've had to deal with it kind of the entire season of be patient and take the stuff underneath. And so I think, guys, we just executed really good at those 2 games that we played against them. So it'll be a similar concept that I'm sure that they'll try to do to us this week. We'll play some shell coverages and stuff like that, but I'm sure they'll come up and play some man coverage as well. And I think guys just have to execute, and we have to not turn the ball over and go out there and score points.
In terms of the offense, Patrick, because it was so early and because the game went the way it did, how much does it help that everybody can probably watch the tape of that game and realize, they have a chance to have some redemption on Thursday night, not just separately.
Yeah. No, I mean, the entire offense understands that. I mean, we had a chance, especially late in the game, to go down there and score points and win it. And we just kind of we kept just turning the ball over, if it was interceptions, fumbles, or whatever it was. So we understand that we have another chance at it now, and it's a big game, kind of at the top of that AFC West division. And it'll mean a lot as you try to get into the playoffs. And so we'll come in with that mentality of trying to play our best football, executing at a high level, and trying to have the intensity to go out there and win the game.
You kind of alluded to extra attention to Travis Kelce, a little bit of added physicality this year. How have you seen him fight through it, and maybe what can you do to kind of help him find a way to get him open here?
Yeah, no, I mean, he's always had to battle through a lot of contact. I mean, he's such a big guy that sometimes he gets wrapped around there and it kind of gets called on him, but he's just trying to run his route. And so he understands that. He tries to fight through and he tries to just compete at the end of the day. And I think we're trying to do a good job of moving him around and not letting him get stuck in one position to try to get him open. But I think the best thing about him is, I mean, obviously he hasn't had that big game in a couple weeks here that we're used to him having, but he's getting other guys open. And he understands how to do whatever it takes to win, and that's the type of leader he is.
Couple more guys go by, and Steve.
Patrick, Andy was asked a little bit about being the 50th anniversary of his punt, pass, and kick appearance, and I'm sure you've seen that. I'm curious what your reaction to it was, and if you've ever had any exchange with Andy about it.
Yeah, we've definitely joked around about it a little bit. I actually showed Shane the other day because I saw it on Twitter as well. I mean, it's a funny video. I mean, that he was a prime athlete at a young age, so I'm sure he can still sling it around a little bit.
Patrick, I didn't get to ask you this last week, but the announcement, former Negro Leagues player Buck O'Neil going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. What kind of impact did that do for baseball and also for you as well?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it did so much for baseball. I mean, all those guys that are in that Negro League museum, they did not only did great things for baseball, but for all sports. I mean, it broke that color barrier. It got black athletes into the top professional world where they deserve to be at. And those guys are the reason that I'm standing here today playing football and living out my dream. And it was overdue. I mean, he was such a great player, great coach, scout, whatever he did. I mean, it's something that should have happened a long time ago, but I'm glad it finally happened.
Okay, thanks, Patrick.
Thanks, Patrick.
All right, guys. Go ahead and find away.
Hey, Orlando, you talked about just getting more comfortable with the offense throughout the season, but right now, how much more comfortable do you feel maybe versus the first 4 weeks of the season, and particularly as far as you and Patrick being on the same page?
Yeah, I feel a lot more comfortable, especially within the system, especially what Pat's doing, and I feel like we're playing really well as a unit, man. Obviously, I feel like we've been a little bit more productive, especially last week offensively, and I just feel like, man, that's a testament to the coaches putting us in great position and us executing.
Orlando, what have you gotten to learn more about Clyde and Daryl, and just the two of them working off of one another, and just what's it like to see their interactions both in the locker room and obviously on game day?
Yeah, man, it's pretty cool. Obviously, with them being teammates in college, running back teammates in college, and then their play styles too. You know what I mean? Like Daryl, man, was surprising in the pass game. He's made some crazy catches and done some crazy stuff in the pass game, as well as in the run game too, with the power stuff. And then Clyde is a great back as well, man. Just how shifty he is, how for a smaller back, how explosive he is. It's pretty cool seeing how they work together.
How did you guys feel with Derek breaking off that big touchdown run?
Oh, man, that's a great feeling. Anytime you can have a big run like that, especially that late in the game, man, up front, man, that's a great feeling.
Now that we're 3/4 of the way through the season, how do you feel like maybe this system has challenged you in a bit more than Baltimore, or differently than Baltimore did?
It's challenged me a lot, man, and I absolutely love it. As someone that aspired to play in this league, these are the type of systems that you aspire to be in. You aspire to be in these one-on-one situations as often as possible, and that was one of the main reasons for me, as far as I'm a left tackle, man, is being in a system like this, having the opportunity to prove myself, showing what I'm capable of, man. And it's very challenging, very different from what I experienced in Baltimore, especially just the amount of passing attempts that we have. But man, I absolutely love it.
How much a chance for a rematch when you lost the first game? How much can that influence a positive performance, whether you've had that had it before in your career, or just what it serves on Thursday?
Yeah, man, it's kind of hard to say. I would definitely say though, I don't like to look too deep into stuff like that. You know what I mean? I'm approaching it, but I do understand. We did lose the last game, and things didn't necessarily go great. I watched the film. So I'm just looking for another opportunity on a Sunday, man, or a Thursday, I guess. Yeah.
Give a couple of sacks to both of a couple of the players in that first game.
Yep.
You're up for I'm pretty sure you're up for the challenge. You can talk about going up against Bosa.
Yeah, man. He's great. I think his production, especially in sack numbers and pressure, speak for themselves. He's a very special talent, man. They come from elite bloodlines. Owosu is also a really good rusher as well. They got some guys that come off the sideline that are really good at what they do. So they got a really talented group up front, man. It's going to be a challenge.
I think we've been asking everybody today if they've seen Andy Reid's punt, pass, and kick from 50 years ago. You ever seen that?
Yeah. I have seen that before. Gosh, I think I saw it before I got here. Yeah. He had did he have a single bar? He had a single bar helmet on? Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, the Bobby Boucher helmet. Yeah, man, it's pretty dope. So I remember seeing that video. It's pretty cool.
With Judy and Creed and Trey and yourself, I mean, you guys have been pretty physical with the line, and we've seen a fair share of pancakes and stuff this year. How fun has it been for y'all watching some of the stuff back in the O-line room?
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun, man, playing with this group of guys up front, man, especially. The finishes that Trey and them have, Creed has, the juice and the energy that they play with. You know what I mean? I feel like the communication has been really well and gotten better. Our execution has gotten better. Our fundamentals and consistency has gotten better. So it's been a lot of fun, man, playing with these guys. Just the juice on the sideline, finishing blocks, talking trash. It's been a lot of fun.
Can you take us down to what some of the conversations either in the huddle when
Yeah.
some of the violent pancakes take place?
Yeah. I mean, man, we're just rooting each other on. We take a lot of pride in presentation as a group up front. And so whether that be jogging to the line of scrimmage, chasing the ball, finishing blocks, helping our runners or wide receivers or quarterback up, whatever the deal is, man. But as far as conversation, I don't want to get too specific, but you know what I mean? It's just a lot of grit,
Okay. Thanks, Orlando.
Yeah, no problem.
Hey, Mecole, you're up, bud.
And media,
All right,
so
guys. Go ahead and fire away.
Mecole, it seems as though your role has been increased just a little bit over the last few weeks. How have you been able to handle that, and has it done anything to you?
I don't know what you said the last part.
How have you handled obviously not being on the field as much and not being on special teams as much like recently?
Hey man, just hear what it is. We win a game, so I ain't got nothing to complain about. Whenever my number calls, just go out there and do what I need to do and just, play my role, and whatever that role is, I'm gonna play it to the best of my ability.
What do the coaches tell you? What kind of discussions do they have with you leading up to that period over the last month about your role in the offense and on special teams?
Really no discussion. It's just, just how things playing out. And, I just go with it. Ain't nothing much I can say. Like I said, just do what I need to do. And whenever they call me to go in there or whatever they got for me, just go in there and do what I need to do and, make plays when my number's called. But other than that, man, it's just, it is what it is right now. So.
Mecole, we got Patrick's version of the 44-yard pass the other day, but I wonder if you could take us through how that play came open and what you did to make it work.
That really wasn't a route at all. The double move, I mean, it kind of got him on the first move. It's supposed to be like another like an end route kind of. And when I got him with the little double move thing, man, he fell. I'm like, man, I'm just gonna run deep, and hopefully he see me, And so I knew I kind of was the primary read on that kind of play. So wish you kind of threw a little earlier, but nah.
Did you feel like it was good sort of sync though with you and Patrick, sort of feeling the moment together?
Oh yeah, I knew he would see me for sure. Like I said, I knew I was the main target on that play, so I just hope we throw a little earlier. But it all worked out. We got a big game, and I think we scored on that drive, so it all worked out.
How exciting is that when you see the corner fall down? You know, you have your speed and you're green grass ahead of you.
Just throw the ball, just throw it now, it's a real good feeling. I don't think I had a deep ball since Washington game, I think. So it's a good feeling to get the ball down the field. But need some more of those.
I think I asked you last year, from your rookie season to last year, how you would rate yourself and gathering in the offense, and I think you gave yourself a C or whatever. What would you grade yourself right now, in your time here with the Chiefs in that position where you were expected to, when you were first drafted, to maybe be the number one, and then of course with Sammy leaving, stepping into the number 2 role?
I don't know, man. I think it's better from last year, though. I think my numbers are up, besides the yards. I think I got my targets, catches up with a better catch percentage. More comfortable with the playbook. More comfortable being on the field. So as of grade, probably like a little B- right now. It's definitely up. Definitely got some more improving to do. Getting better every week. So just take what I know, what I'm learning from these guys, man, and just apply it on the field. And eventually, hopefully everything start to click and just get better as time goes.
I know it's fortunate to be on a Super Bowl team, but is there at the beginning of your career and like an unluckiness factor of just sometimes so much talent when it comes to pass catchers that it may be hard for you to kind of come into your own this early in your career?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a problem. You got the best receiver in the league, in front of you, but to me, I just take it as a learning, thing. Just learn from Tyreek, learn from Trav, learn from Sammy while he was here, so just learn from those guys, man. Then eventually, if a time do come where I'm one of those guys and, step into that kind of role, I kind of know what's going on, and know what to do and what it takes to, be in that role. So, but I don't mind it, man. I learned a lot, from Tyreek, from the guys that's been ahead of me that's been here. And so while they're here, I'm gonna learn, do what I need to do and do it the best I can. So
I asked Andy last Sunday and also earlier today about, just you being able to just keep a positive attitude, even though things that may not have gone your way. How have you been able to do that so far this season?
Man, just good spirits. Like you said, you got to keep a good attitude, positive energy, because and you try, bad energy, bad vibes that just don't well right with the whole team or the coaches in general. So you just want to keep your head up, just do what you gotta do, keep the good energy, good the vibes, and everything work out how it's supposed to.
How much does winning help that?
Oh, a lot. If we was losing, I'd probably be a little different. but it's good. Like I said, man, as long as we getting the wins, everything's working. I have nothing to complain about.
Do you feel like you lived up to your own personal expectations?
Nah, my expectations so high, dog, and I can't tell you how high. So, but working at it every day. You know what I'm saying? Once I get a chance to get up there, then I'd be kind of a little satisfied. But right now, I'm still trying to live up to those.
Okay, thanks, Mecole.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
I guess that's a no, huh?
What type of challenges do you see going into Thursday night's game that you've seen, from the Chargers team over the last few weeks, but also the first time you all played them?
I mean, it's a big challenge. Talk about one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Got a lot of skill, playmakers on the field. I mean, this is a big challenge for us. I think this game is probably the most important game, we've played, up until this point. So it's going to take all of us to kind of get it done.
You've all been very good over the last couple of seasons, knowing what's at stake, knowing what's ahead, trying to obviously capture the division title, knowing that if you all lose this game, basically, they sweep and they, have a leg up on the inside track. How important is this game versus the previous games that you all played against division rivals?
I mean, like I just said, I think this game, means the most. We know what's at stake. Obviously, the Chargers are a pretty good football team, and we expect those guys to give us their best shot. I think the last time we played those guys, it went their way, and so we got that on our mind, and so we're really just hoping we could go in there with some great energy and kind of just take over the place.
How would you describe how much different the defense is today than it was in that game? Obviously, there's some personnel differences, but also you guys have certainly gelled. I mean, but how would you describe that difference?
Yeah, I mean, it's a big difference. I think if you go back to the first game, it came down to a lot of critical plays. A lot of third downs, a couple fourth down plays that they were able to convert on. And I think if you look back on it, it was really us and our communication and misalignments that really allowed those guys to kind of win those situations. So we got that on our mind. So I think communication, situational communication is going to be critical for us this game. I think when you're playing against a quarterback like that with those kind of athletes on the field, we understand that, fourth down is like third down to those guys. And so we got to be ready.
Are there some things you need to keep in mind on every play when you're playing against this team and this quarterback in particular?
Yeah, I think, ultimately number one is, how can we, affect the quarterback? How can we get him off his spots? How can we just harass him early on? And then from there is, identifying playmakers, where's 30, where's 13, where's 81, formational awareness. So we'll be ready.
Chris, the first thing you mentioned was affecting the quarterback. Chris might not be available to play on Thursday. What's that going to be like trying to get after him if Chris doesn't play?
Yeah, I mean, Chris is, one of those players, probably the only guy you could really compare to him is probably Aaron Donald. You know what I mean? When you talk about just inside, just dominance, you know what I mean? So it's going to be a big challenge for us to, replace him. But I think we're more healthier, than ever defensively. I think up front, we're able to rotate those guys in and out. I think all those things will work out for us Thursday.
After the game the other day, you said you were trying to give L'Jarius his space, but it's been 2 days. Just wondering if you talked to him since then and how he's doing right now.
Well, he actually texted me. He told me he loved me. And so for me, that was really all I needed to hear. Obviously, I think, he's dealing with a lot right now. But football means a lot to him. It means a lot to his family. I feel like, in my opinion, in the things that I've went through, I think he has some motivation going forward. So I think he's one of those guys that's going to, capitalize off of this.
Aaron, quarterbacks are usually described as a leader, not. You guys obviously have one. Spags said that about Herbert during his media on Monday. What makes Herbert, in your film review, elite in this league?
I mean, he's just obviously, he's one of those quarterbacks that can really see the whole field. He's big. He stands strong in the pocket. He could really extend plays for a long period of time. Obviously, he's a great athlete. And then if you kind of couple that with the playmakers that he has and the coaching that he has, he's almost unstoppable, in a sense. So it's going to be important for us to kind of hopefully rattle him early. But like I said, he's one of those guys that you can see on tape. He's poised. He knows where to go with the ball. And then like I mentioned earlier, I think critical situations, he's aware of what to do with the ball. So, we've got to be a step ahead of him.
Aaron, given that it's a short week, when did you start preparing for the Chargers? Like how quickly did you go from Sunday's game to obviously understanding that you're on such a quick pace this week?
Yeah, I don't even think I watched I usually watch the game that I played in that night. Went straight to the Chargers film. Obviously we won't play the Raiders, anymore this season. Obviously some corrections you could take from every game. But with it being a short week, you just got to flip the page. I'd probably say, for the last couple of days, I've been on it.
Tyler, if you could backtrack to your rookie year, what do you feel like was the best learning experience that you got? I mean, as far as advice from veterans, going through training camp, going through film, and just actually being on the field.
Oh, man, my rookie year, I'd probably say just that competition, being able to go up against Larry Fitzgerald, each and every day. It's like that old quote, iron sharpen iron. I think you can learn a lot, from competing against a guy that know what they're doing, So that's probably one of the biggest takeaways. I had a lot of good coaches too. I had Ty Bowles, who's, one of those defensive coordinators. I learned a lot, and then I competed at a high level a lot, as a rookie. So I think that all those things kind of help springboard me, as an athlete.
It seemed like in 2019, you guys got a bit of a shot in the arm when guys like Mike Pennell and Terrell Suggs came in mid-season. What is it that a guy coming in during the year can bring to a team from the outside?
Fresh energy. I think that's probably the biggest thing. And then most of those guys are motivated too when they get in, So, I think their level of work, their level of preparation is high. And I think everybody around them kind of sees that. And, so it's like I said a couple of weeks ago, it's a lot more leaders than, just Hitchens and Matthew. I think a lot of guys, want to be able to take on that, responsibility. I think Melvin, he's one of them.
Each week presents its own challenge. Each opponent presents its challenge. But given the significance of the game, you guys traveling, the time crunch that you're in, what will this week sort of reveal to you about where you guys are right now as a team, and what will it mean if you guys are able to have a successful back-to-back where you win Sunday and Thursday?
I think it'll say a lot about us, if we're able to win this game. Obviously, really our commitment to each other, and how bad do we want it, or is 9 wins enough for us? So I think it's still a lot out there, that we can own. You know what I mean? And I think the team feels that, the locker room feels that, and we just want to be better than we were the last time around. And so we got a lot of motivation, going into this one. Like I said, we understand how important it is, how big it is. We understand what kind of dudes, we're going up against too. So, and then the whole world's watching. So it's going to be one of those nights that, every play counts, every series counts. Penalties, all those things going to be a big factor.
Tyron, yesterday the NFL had a all-time high number of COVID positive cases. Obviously, the world's dealing with COVID more than it was a couple months ago when the season started. What do you guys do as players, knowing this? I mean, are there extra elements extra safety elements that you guys can do, or just kind of stay kind of what you've been doing?
I think it's really kind of the same mindset. Well, I want to say you want to put yourself in the same mindset, you did a year ago. You know what I mean? When you get to the back end of the season, you don't want to be one of those guys that's, not available. And I think that's the most important thing. I think obviously this is a big game for us, and every game from here on out, it has a lot on the line for us. So the more that you can be available for your team, you just have to do everything you can in your power to hope that you can stay available.
How do you battle complacency, though? Speaking of that situation right there, to not get complacent, because some people do get a sense of they're invulnerable.
Right. Yeah. I mean, like I said, it's always something more that you could work towards. And I think if you could, obviously, keep the team in your mind, keep that perspective, you'll always have something to work on. You'll always have something to get better at. You'll always, want to chip in and help the team. And so, and then obviously, you got to have good leaders. You have got to have guys that love to come to work. I think that's like the most important thing. So, if you got a lot of guys that love to come to work, you could fight that temptation, of really, thinking you've arrived or made it.
Tyron, I asked Patrick this, and I believe you're a baseball guy, and I know your son plays baseball, so I want to ask you about the announcement, former Negro League player Buck O'Neal being inducted to the Hall of Fame. What does that do for the culture of sport?
I think it's huge, man. Obviously, I grew up in New Orleans, and baseball was a big sport. And you would like to see more and more, young black men kind of engage in the sport the way I did when I was young. So I think him being inducted, and then, obviously kids today seeing that, hopefully that's a inspiration to those guys that could be them one day. So that's a big honor. That's huge that the MLB, finally came around to that decision. But I'm hoping that it serves well, for a lot of the young black men that, obviously think that it's just football and basketball, but I think baseball is one of those sports, we could play as well.
Hey, speaking of baseball, Tyron, thanks for coming out of the bullpen.
Well, thank you.